Might blow a bag on the drip drip. Make it all back on a quick flip. Ayy, I just need cake and a thick bitch. Ayy, I ain't have much, just a wish list. Not a broke nigga doing big shit. I got the gun lock loaded, I'm ignorant. So keep one eye open like slick rig. I got the drip game nigga under big man. Switch lanes on him, hit the mid range. Keep the big strap on me like a hitman. It go click clack, willow while a big bang. I ain't never been shit, ain't shit changed. The niggas get lame when you get fame. Can't sleep at night till I get brains. Got a mean ass pipe in a dick game. I got a bitch on my sofa. I got a chip on my shoulder. You gotta live with your karma. And if you get hurt, then you got what you're supposed to. I got hitters all over. Told them this is all over. I take the kids on drugs and line them all up and get them all sober. I got a little check that I cashed out, ayy. Credit card maxed out, ayy. I get lit, then I act out, ayy. I ain't wanna do it, but I blacked out, ayy. They say I need to be safe. I think I need to be straight. Fix your vibes, you need to be laced. You just need God or you need to be mace. I left my bitch, maybe we just need space. I got gunners like Chris, like Neezy. I got brothers like Tip, like Breezy. I got stunners like Wayne, like BG. I got a hood bitch all about the bread, and she only give me head cause the bed too squeaky. I'm too smart for a hoe try G me. A bitch would be dumb if she ever try leave me. Word. Say uno, dos, tres, cuatro, moreno, gringo, hembra, vato, gangsters, hustlers, killers, follow. I'm the realest nigga I know. I just hit the fucking lotto. I just hit the fucking lotto. Say uno, dos, tres, cuatro, moreno, gringo, hembra, vato, gangsters, hustlers, killers, follow. I'm the realest nigga I know. I just hit the fucking lotto. I just hit the fucking lotto. Why do I feel like Manson? Oh, smoke y'all niggas, I feel like I just got cancer. Hey, murder and spree's my anthem. All of y'all clowns is banter. Still can't pull your pants up. Kidnap kids like Amber. Hold a little nigga for a ransom. I moved from the trap to the mansion. Went from the hoopy to a phantom. If niggas got stuff, don't amp them. I never been pretty, but my mom think I'm handsome. I hate niggas that flex on camera. Little kids always trying to throw tantrums. Oh, you motherfucking dry like dandruff. You can get washed, I throw you in a hamper. I got a bitch on my sofa. I got a chip on my shoulder. You gotta live with your karma. And if you get hurt, then you got what you're supposed to. I got hitters all over. Told them this is all over. I take the kids on lean and get them all clean and give them all soda. Watch how I do it, I demonstrate. Ooh, I ain't gotta move, I renovate. I don't really pray, I meditate, yeah. I ain't gotta jump, I levitate. Always on time, I'm never late. I was outside like every day, trying to turn...
Hey, this that Eastside Johnny Big Redemption like. Know what I'm talking about? Hold up.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way, yeah.
Yeah.
Get out the way, get the up out my way, yeah.
Yeah.
You either with me or against me, though.
And what is up, guys? Maka Buckcuts here with my man, Like Mablah, on Just for Clicks. Welcome, everybody. If you are new here, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, Facebook page as well. But, Mike, first things first, how has your day been thus far, my man?
Ooh, it's been it's been a day. It's been a day. Welcome, all you beautiful people. So glad you could join us today.
Mike, I am definitely glad you're here tonight, man.
It is a great day in the neighborhood.
So, Mike, like obviously you are a entrepreneur, however you say that word, and I work for the man, and working for the man sometimes gets you down, right? It's just
all the time.
Like you're just like, man, F this man or F this woman, right? Yeah. But today was a particularly good day, man. Like
what?
So, you know, 4th of July is coming on Saturday here.
Okay.
So
talk to me, Goose.
Yeah. So my work gave us Friday off to celebrate the 4th of July, which most corporations do, right? But then they come and tell us, hey, by the way, guys, we are giving you Thursday off as well. I'm like, oh, nice. Okay. I like this, right? No, then they come back and say, hey, we're going to give you half a day on Wednesday like as well. I'm like, man, like stuff just kept getting better and better and better. And then my server crashes. And then I had to work like 15 hours.
Did you at least feel appreciated?
You know, being in IT, like you always feel kind of appreciated when you fix stuff. But being in like an IT world, like you're kind of like the janitor in the end. when things work right, you never see me, you never hear from me, nothing, right? But the minute things break, I'm the worst person in the world, hands down, and it sucks. But then you fix it, and people are like all happy, like, "Oh, you're awesome," yada yada yada. What is?
Yeah, I can see that. I love not working for the man. I love working for myself.
Yeah,
I don't have to answer to nobody.
except for your wife.
If I want to come in 30 minutes late, I come in 30 minutes late. If I want to take off a day, I don't have to like put a request in. I don't have to do anything. I just be like, yo, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
But on the flip side, if you do that too much, you're not going to be working for yourself for very long, because
that is very true.
I mean,
That is very true.
I definitely look up to people that are able to work for themselves and like support themselves and like build that foundation and kind of let the machine run by itself. But it takes so much work to get there. Like, you know, you're looking at 16 to 20 hours days. Doing
easy.
5 to 6 people's jobs all by yourself. I mean, it's
yeah.
just,
When I first started, it was just me by myself and my wife Elizabeth. She did all the admin work, all the back end stuff, and you know, I was doing the sales. Like I remember when I first started, man, I'd be on like 8 or 9 sales calls a day. And then I had clients that I had to get ads up for already. So I would spend all my day doing sales, checking in with clients. And then at night is when I would set up everybody's ads. So I was literally working from like 6 o'clock in the morning to like 1 or 2 in the morning.
yeah.
And, you know, for the first like 3 or 4 months, it was bad. I mean, you've got to have that work ethic and that drive to do something bigger than yourself. And I mean, honestly, there's 2 things that I attribute to, you know, my success being a business owner. Number 1 is my dad. You know, now that I'm older, you know, my dad
You can say
used to
thank
make
you,
me-
Dad, right?
Yeah, now I can say thank you, Dad. By the way, thank you, Dad. But you know, when I was a kid growing up, like he made me work. Like, well, this has to be done in the yard, that has to be done, or this has to be done. Like he made me work. And then, you know, the military just kind of instilled that discipline, that self-discipline.
Right.
So, yeah, you definitely have to be self-disciplined and motivated.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and talk about dads here. Like, my dad was like, I guess you can say my baseball coach, football coach, basketball coach, and he would have me throwing 500 baseballs into a bucket across our yard every night for 3 or 4 years straight. I mean, like my arm would be falling off by the end of the day, and like I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why are you such a dick? Like, like we've gotten in physical fights. I'm like, you were just nothing but an asshole. Why are you making me do all this shit? And then when high school rolls around, I can throw a laser from the outfield fence to home plate and catch a guy trying to steal from third home. I'm like, oh, that is
why I
why.
was doing that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why. Thank you, Dad. Like, it's just, I mean, like as you're young, like you definitely can't like see the future or the hindsight, you know. But all dads usually have good intentions at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
they
I
just
mean,
want
I
the best out
do
of
it with
us.
my son. My son is 6 years old, and you know, he comes up to me and he's like, "Dad, I need some money." Look, you're 6 years old. What the hell you need money for?
Right.
Well, Dad, I want to buy some V-Bucks. Or came up to me the other day and he's like, "Dad, I need a watch." I was like, "Why do you need a watch, son? You don't even know how to tell time." He's like, "Well, you have a watch, Dad, so I need a watch." I was like, "Oh, okay. All right. So we went on Amazon. We found a watch that he liked. It was like $20. And I was like, "All right, so I'm gonna give you this $20 now, but you owe me 20 now." He's like, "Okay." Well, when the tooth fairy comes, I'll give you some money. I was like, No. There's stuff that needs to be done in the backyard, and you're gonna go work that $20 off.
Oh man, you gonna treat him
But
like
it's
that?
hot outside, Dad. I don't care.
Get your ass out there and mow that grass, boy.
Yeah. Oh no, he's a little too young to mow the yard, but he go out there and pick stuff up in the backyard and
Right.
things like that. But yeah, I mean, I as a dad now, like making my own son do it, I kind of realize my dad did it and the reason why he did it, right? Because just like your dad, he made you throw all those baseballs. It regardless if it was a baseball or me mowing the yard, whatever the case may be, right? Your dad installed work ethic in you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely they put core values into us that very few kids today have. And coaching high school football, I see that. I'm like, man, you are just a spoiled little brat. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, they've literally had a silver spoon in their mouth their whole freaking lives. And like, I'm not saying I'm poor by any means, but I'm not like I'm not out buying $1 million houses and shit like that, right? But I can guarantee you, I'm going to raise my kids the way I was raised. Yes, we might have money in the bank, but son, you are going to work for everything that you have. I don't care if you got holes in your shoes. Like, you want a new pair of shoes? Go out and prove to me why you need a new pair of shoes.
Exactly. So Max the other day, sitting out in the backyard, he plays his PS4 and he gets pissed off and he slams his controller or he'll slam his headphones when he loses. So he comes out and he's like, Dad, I think I need a new mic. And I was like, why do you need a new mic? Well, I broke mine. Well, how did you break it? Because if it was an accident, okay, cool, Dad will replace it.
Right.
He's like, well, I got mad and I threw it on the floor. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not getting you another one. I've done told you.
Yeah.
Because this is like the third mic we've been through. So now he's going to have to learn his lesson. And I'll eventually get him one, but he's going to have to sit out for a minute and know that, hey, I'm not just going to replace things just because we have money.
Right.
It's not how it works.
I mean, like, so me and my wife kind of go back and forth of like how to discipline our kids, because like our son's 2 and he is in that terrible 2 age, and we're kind of like, do we spank him? Do we put him in time out? Do we tell him no? Because like I'm not gonna lie, I spank my son, and the other day he pissed me off. I spanked him, and he just looked at me and smiled and ran off. I'm like, oh no boy, and so I popped him good, right? And I'm like, and then like looking back, I'm like, man, I maybe have hit him a little too hard, but he cried and did his little thing, and then like he comes back and says, sorry, dad. I'm like, you motherfucker, you know the way to my heart. Like,
yeah. Man. Yeah. So I spank my son. You know what I mean? Call whoever you want. Yes, I spank my son. Does my daughter, I can count on one hand how many times she's got. My daughter's pretty good. My son is like super rambunctious though.
Yeah.
Like,
it has to be boys. I mean, like, it's just young boys, right?
Yeah,
it has to be.
He's super rambunctious, but I don't know. The way I look at it is, just like you. I'm sure you look at it the same way. Like, we're raising men. I'm raising someone's husband.
Right.
I'm raising someone's father right now. You know what I mean? So I don't want them to grow up and be a piece of shit. I don't want him to ever feel that, and by no means am I rich either. You know what I mean? We have money. We are comfortable.
Right.
But you're not going to you're not going to be entitled. I'm not raising an entitled asshole. You know what I mean? You're going to work and you're going to know what the value of $1, and you are going to know what's right from wrong, period.
Me and Cindy have gone, like we've kind of talked about this and kind of haven't, but we've like, we almost want to, like, our kids to think that we aren't like rich or like, have money in the bank, just so they value stuff more.
Yeah.
So like when we do eventually get my son a PS4, Cindy, if you're listening, I would like a PS4 too, but we'll go ahead and move on past that. Wink, wink. But I mean, like, I know he's going to get pissed off and throw the controller. Yeah. Every kid does. I do it still. I'm like, fucking kids are beating me at COD, motherfuckers. But like, I want him to know, like, hey, this is $60 mic. This is a $60 headset. Like, come on, man. Like, fucking treat it good. So I just like,
you just got to lead by example.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just got to lead by example, because I mean, I play Madden. I have a PS4 and I play Madden all the time.
Right.
And I'll be playing some kid online. He'll just sometimes get in my head and get in my start whooping my ass, and I'll throw the controller, and Max will see that. He's like, oh well, and then he'll tell me I broke a controller one time.
Yeah.
He'll go and little smart ass. He was like, well, I guess you're not getting another one for like 4 weeks, right? Because that's what you tell me.
What did you do? What did you do?
I wanted to tell him, look, little fucker, I make the money, and I'll go buy me one if I want to.
Right.
I held out for like 2 weeks before I went to go buy a new controller.
Hey, I give you props on that. I give you props
just
on
to show him, like, hey, yeah, I got to pay the consequences too, just like you.
All right, guys, we are going to take a quick little break here. Once we get back from the break, we had a little man talk here, but on the other side of the break, we're going to talk some sports. You got Johnny Manziel back to the NFL? Question mark? Question mark? Wink, wink. No, he sucks. Odell Beckham Jr. to the Patriots, and Ivy League football possibly playing only 7 games. Who knows? We'll find out on the other side of the break, guys. We'll be right back.
I don't know what you take me as or understand the intelligence that Jay-Z has. I'm from rags, the richest niggas, I ain't dumb. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me. 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me. Yeah, it's 90.
And welcome back to Just for Clicks, guys. Michael Buckcuster here with Mike LeBlanc. Live, raw, and uncut sports talk coming at you in the noon edition of RTFSportsNetwork.com. If you have missed any part of the show whatsoever, feel free to check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio as well. Also, starting July 5th, we have Mike's and Mike's Man Hour coming at you as well. Cannot wait for that to happen. Mike, are you ready to talk some sports, my man?
I am ready. Let's talk some sports. I mean, that's why everybody's here, right? To listen to me be right and listen to the garbage that comes out of your mouth.
Here we go with nonsense already coming out. But you can go ahead and start with your Johnny Manziel thing. Feel free.
So I read an article, and Johnny Manziel came out and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm quitting football. I'm done with football." Johnny, haven't you been done with football for like 3 years, 4 years?
He did take a snap in the American Football League, right? For like, I literally say like one snap, and I think he like broke a toenail or something. But like, when is enough for these athletes that have kind of like flaked out? Because I feel like Ryan Leaf was kind of like the same way. He was a complete bust in the NFL where he played like 2-3 years, and then he went off on that reporter, and then drugs and like whatnot. And then after he came back from rehab, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm done like with the NFL." Like, do we really need to hear that? Like, are you just like, are you trying to get some publicity stunts, like trying to get some money? Or
I think that's what it is. Like, he just wants a little bit more PR before it's all over and done. I mean, come on, man. You've been done.
Yeah.
You've been done. Nobody wants you in the NFL. And that's where it's important. Nobody cares about the CFL, the XFL, the AAFL, whatever the hell it was. Like, nobody cares about that. Bro,
Like,
you've been done.
I don't know how many years he played in the NFL, but I think it was 3, right? 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3. And hold on, before we go any further, little Robert, my little brother, if you're watching right now, I gotta say, I told you so. My little brother was a Johnny Manziel fan. He went out and got a jersey, everything. He was like, he is the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, how'd that work out for you?
Bust?
I bought a Johnny Manziel jersey too. I bought a Cleveland Browns Johnny Manziel jersey. I didn't think he was going to be this much of a bust. I thought he was going to end up being a backup.
Do you think he was only a bust because he went to Cleveland? Could he have succeeded somewhere else, though?
No, because I think he still would have had that same attitude. You know what I mean?
Was it the drugs at the end of the day? Because
that and the
I
drinking,
did hear he liked his cocaine.
He didn't really. I mean, he really didn't focus on football the way he should.
Right.
You know, I honestly thought Baker Mayfield was going to be another Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's proven me wrong so far.
Has he though? I mean, he took a big digression in year 2.
You know, he did, but we kind of saw him grow up a little bit last year, and I think this year we'll see him grow up even more.
I think Case Keenum behind him will definitely help. You know, that veteran leader, like leadership, like a little bit like, hey, I've been around for 10 years, and this is why. I mean, yeah, they might be competing for the same job.
I think it's going to light a fire under his ass.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
what you drinking over there, Mike? What you drinking over there, bud?
I got I'm drinking a screwdriver tonight, a little orange juice and vodka. It's
drinking,
been one of those days.
Drinking a little bit of Jameson Black Barrel.
Yeah, I'm not much of a whiskey drinker. So, fun fact, when I was 21, like, my parents took me out about 6 p.m. at night. I was passed out in bed by 7:30. And funny story, it's a half hour drive.
Hold on, go back. They took you out at 6 p.m.
Right.
And you were already passed out by 7:30 p.m.?
In bed, tucked in. And it's a half hour drive from the bar to our house.
Oh, no.
So they gave me 21 Jack shots, right? Or no, it was, what is the 3 Wiseman shot? It's like Jameson, Jack, and Jim Beam,
no,
right?
The 3 Wiseman is Jim, Jack, and Jose.
Right. So I had so I had 7 of those shots. So 21 for my 21st birthday, right? I'm like, pop, 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 pop. I'm like, that ain't nothing, right? Stood up, fell flat on my ass. I was like, motherfucker. Dude, I had a hangover probably for like 3 or 4 weeks. Like it was rough, man. Dude, I don't know what happened, but it was rough.
So when I went to Korea, we went over there for cold weather training, and there's this stuff called soju. It's Korean liquor. And they serve like these humongous ass bowls. It's called a soju bowl. And me and a couple buddies went out, and so we're all drinking from this bowl. And we finished the whole bowl. The whole thing. And I'm like, dude, there's no way we drank all this alcohol and we're not fucked up right now. And I'm like, dude, this sucks.
4 days later.
No. So I call the waitress over here. I'm like, is this really alcohol? And she's like, oh, yes, GI, it's alcohol. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm like completely sober. And she's like, you stand up. I was like, okay. Well, I stood up. Well, I had to sit right back down. Man, I stood up and it just hit me like a Mack truck. But anyway, yeah, Johnny Manziel, bro, you done.
Right
Why
off
even
into
come
the
out
sunset.
and say it?
Luckily his mom and dad does have some money, so he can just live off that for like a little while, right?
I mean, let's be honest. He probably still has some money from the NFL. He signed a pretty large contract because he was drafted in the first round. It was the first round, something like 30, 40 million or something like that.
Right. I mean, yeah. So hopefully he was smart enough not to piss all that away. But somebody that may not be very smart is Ian Dempson. He recently signed a 5-year, $7 million Major League Baseball contract with the Colorado Rockies. He says he is sitting out the 2020 season for fear of coronavirus, which is totally respectable. He has a pregnant wife. Like, I get everything. But then he said in his Instagram post he was being mistreated, or the minorities are being mistreated in professional sports, and he wants to take a stand. What? Like,
I don't.
What?
Look, man. I don't see how minorities are being treated in any sport. Let's be honest, in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, you all get paid millions and millions of dollars to play a game.
Even if you aren't getting millions, the league minimum is like $700,000 in the NFL. Like,
yeah, like you get paid like astronomically money to play a game, while the rest of us average Joes in the real world have to go out and like actually work for our money.
Yeah, we would love to play a snap in the NFL.
Yeah, and you know what? Some of us, not some, most of us will never see in our lifetime what some of these players make in a whole year.
Right.
So sit down and shut up about hold on, let me walk that back because I don't want people to think I'm racist or anything. I do agree with them using their platform to, protest against the social injustice that's going on in our country,
Right.
because there's a lot of social injustice going on in our country. But as far as in the NFL or in the MLB, Major League Baseball, or in the NBA, sit down and shut up. You get paid millions of dollars to play a fucking game.
Yeah, I have never heard of
like
anybody
watching
say professional sports are mistreating minorities. I mean,
No.
to be totally honest, if you look at Major League sports across the board, white people are the minorities. Let's be flat out honest. About that.
And let's go a step further. We'll talk about baseball, right? Because that's where this guy is from, the
Right.
Rockies. A lot of these major league teams go to the Dominican Republic, go to Mexico,
Right.
all in South America to go get these people to come over here and play baseball to make money they have never seen, that
Right.
they would never see in their own country, right? So you just signed, what would you say? It was millions. How much?
It was a
How much?
5-year, $70 million contract. I believe it was last year when he signed that. So
70 million for 5 years.
Right.
$70 million for 5 years. Come on, man. You're not being mistreated at all. Stop it.
yeah, it's just like I agreed with everything that he said, the coronavirus, all that stuff, until he said that. I was like, really? You're being mistreated, being a professional athlete, making millions of dollars, doing what you love, what you've worked so hard to do your whole life to get to, and now you're being mistreated. Whatever. It is what it is. You got some Odell Beckham Jr. news over there?
Yeah. So a baseball player, Alex Wood, pitcher for the Dodgers, stated something about OBJ will be on the Patriots before the season starts. You can bank on it. And OBJ retweeted it and answered it, saying, no, sir, you can catch me in the land. We have unfinished business.
If he means the land as in Patriot land,
Cleveland.
I could see
Cleveland. No, he means Cleveland. He means Cleveland.
that. What unfinished business do they have in Cleveland? Another 8-8 season?
No, come on, bruh. I think the Browns are going to surprise a lot of people. Don't sleep on the Browns this season.
People have been saying that for 10 years. Don't sleep on the
Man,
Browns this year. Don't sleep on the Browns this year. At what
Man,
year do we
I'm
stop
telling you,
sleeping on the
don't-
Browns and see it?
It's just like we talked about earlier. I think we see Baker Mayfield really do some growing up this season, and instead of trying to make everything happen for himself, he really utilizes the team around him. I mean, he's got Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr.
No, let me stop you right there. He is not going to have Odell Beckham Jr. come toward midseason because they're going to trade him off to the Packers or to the Patriots. Mark my words, Odell Beckham Jr. will be traded by the year
How
end.
much meth did you smoke today?
I smoked enough to get through the show.
No, man, they are not going to trade Odell Beckham Jr. I promise
He is
you
going to
that.
be a cancer in that locker room. They have
No.
too much talent on that team to put up with a egotistical maniac like Odell Beckham Jr. on the sideline when there's free agents out there that you could pick up that is just as good as he is. I'm talking Antonio Brown. I'm talking Des Bryant.
Hold on.
Yeah, you could trade.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
Antonio Brown nor Des Bryant, in my opinion, are better than Odell
Besides
Beckham.
the catch, what has Odell Beckham Jr. done?
Dude, that man is a monster.
Besides the catch, what has he done?
That man,
He
I'm
is
telling
an
you,
habitual average wide receiver on a crappy team.
I gotta put these glasses on from all this damn craziness you were talking right now.
It is not crazy. Numbers lie occasionally, but these numbers don't. He is a average wide receiver.
He is not average.
He is lucky to get 60 yards a game.
No, what?
Yeah, look at it.
No,
I'm
no,
telling you.
Buck. Buck, no.
Telling you, man. He is going to get traded by year's end.
No.
Cleveland doesn't need him. But, guys, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have a special guest here, Mike Fink, a blogger from RTS Sports Network. You have been hearing Mike LeBlanc say War Eagle all freaking week, and quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing it. War Eagle sucks.
War Eagle.
But Mike
Alabama
Fink
sucks.
tells us in his blog why he thinks Auburn has a chance to win the national title this year. So after the break, we're going to welcome Mike on to the show and pick his brain a little bit, guys. We'll be right back.
I know they prayed on my downfall. On no 10, bitch, I stood tall. 10 toes, nigga. Show these disloyal niggas how to ball. Ah.
I guess we caught the end of that song, Mike. I was hoping to hear some Olive T. Grills. But Mike Fink, welcome to the show, my man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
We can
loud
hear
and
you
clear,
loud
brother.
and clear, my man.
All right, good.
So every time we have another mic on the show, we get really excited because, you know, 3 mics do eventually make a right turn, right? Or something of that, right? So, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So just I'm middle of graduating college, write words for you guys. Looking to get a little money from it, looking to do this. So you guys got me early. We'll see. I guess you guys are a startup. And big things that I care about are college football, pro football, and baseball. And I heard you guys talking about baseball and pro football beforehand. So this should be good. You guys clearly know what to talk about.
Yes. So before we get into your blog here, you said you are a big baseball fan, and we did just talk about some baseball. Ian Dempson said he is not playing the 2020 Major League Baseball season, along with Ryan Zimmerman, a first baseman from the Nationals. How do you feel about these big-name players sitting out the 2020 season?
So I find it interesting. The guy who was on previously mentioned how players get paid millions, like, oh, they should shut up and play, because I would love to do that. And I always think about players holding out for free agency and holding out and not playing, and it's like, of course I would get paid as much as they do. Well, yeah, you suck at the sport. These guys to be a professional athlete in today's world means you have to practice religiously to get there. Like, they're probably, of any profession, they are the most committed to their sport. Like, in terms of how much they devote to it, they've earned the right almost to hold out. I would say that, granted, they're getting paid the money to deserve it, but a player to hold out.
Hold on. You just said they practice the most out of anybody else to perfect their craft, right?
Just look at how much hours they put in.
How many hours did I
hold
put in?
Hold on. I'm about to wreck that whole sentence right there. So, I own a marketing agency, and we do Facebook ads, Google ads, so on and so forth, right?
Plug it.
I spend, even now, today, countless hours away from my family, perfecting my craft for pennies on the dollar what NFL players get. So you cannot come on and say that just because they practice, hours and hours a day, they deserve to get paid what they get paid. I put in 16 to 20 hours a day, every day except on Sunday, to perfect my craft, to continue the success of my business. So what you're telling me right there is I should get paid millions of dollars too, right?
Did you start doing your craft from like age 6? One of the things that I'm not saying you don't work hard. I think you guys do great. Everyone who works for RTS does a great job, puts a lot of effort in. But pro athletes, you think about how much they devote from an early age. They sacrifice. Like, they talked about how a tennis player had to go to a tennis academy, and then coming back home, he had to practice to the extent where it wasn't enjoyable. It just became that's who he is, where he had to learn to enjoy it. I think it's interesting. I mean, the amount from when they put in, especially at a young age, is more than it's. I mean, I really think that it's the only where they devote to it.
So you're telling me all the hours that Buck, his dad made him throw a baseball into a bucket was for nothing then at this point, because he's not a professional athlete.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Mike. I do, but to say that just because they put in hours and hours, they deserve millions and millions of dollars. I don't buy that. I can't, because there are plenty of Americans that put in hours and hours to perfect their craft on whatever they do, and they don't get paid millions of dollars. We're talking about, and let's be honest, we're talking about a game. At the end of the day, we're talking about a game. Yes, they are amazing athletes, right? That's why we like watching them. But I mean, me posting ads and doing my Facebook stuff is not as sexy as
LeBlanc,
Odell Beckham Jr.
I see what you're saying, LeBlanc. Calm down there a second. Yes, you are right. They are getting paid to play a game, but you said it on the on the other side, they're getting paid to entertain us as well. A freaking comedian stands up on stage for a half hour, tells us some jokes. Oh, you got some jokes for us? Yes, I do. And they suck. He still gets his $12 million at like a show, right? Kevin Hart, you suck. But whatever.
Hold on, that's blasphemous. Kevin Hart is hilarious.
He was 5 years ago. But
wow.
But Mike, so I am with you on this side, Mike. Mike Fink, I should say, because we do have 3 mics here. So, but let's go ahead and move past this point. You wrote a blog that I found very intriguing. That the Auburn has an opportunity to win a national championship. For the people that have not read that, go over to rtsportsnetwork.com/blogs, and it's the first blog you're going to see over there underneath Mike Fink's name. But Mike,
great article, by the way, Mike.
Yeah,
great article.
So I'm going to give you grounds here, Mike, to prove why Auburn is going to win for the people that haven't read the article yet.
So, you want me to explain the points, or?
Yeah, tell us why you think Auburn.
State your case. Yeah. State your case.
So I'm writing currently a series. I started with Texas. Texas, I was less confident in. Auburn is a very tough schedule, and I think the over/under right now in Vegas is 9.5 wins. You might want to bet the under on that, just because how tough their schedule is, and it could unravel really fast. Like if they lose 2 early games, which they have Georgia early on this year instead of Georgia late. Usually they have Georgia at home and then they are on the road, and then Alabama 2 weeks later. They don't have that this year, so they play Georgia early, and that's an early test. I'm intrigued by a few things with Auburn. So, and really the first thing is it all starts. I mean, this is really the big decider is Bo Nix, and he had a lot of hype coming out of high school, and as a true freshman, he played really well, incredibly well. One of the best quarterbacks. He can make that from freshman year to sophomore year, especially for a lot of quarterbacks. That's the year that a lot of them take a big leap. I mean, look at the recent quarterbacks that did really well from first year to second year were Deshaun Watson. His first year, he actually missed with an ACL tear. The next year led Clemson to one of the best teams. They came in second in the national championship game. They lost that game. Lamar Jackson took a huge leap from his first year to his second year. He took the Heisman in the second year. Bo Nix, if he makes that leap, which I think he could, that's going to make Auburn going to make that offense look incredible, and that's going to make Auburn as a team get better. They haven't had a quarterback as good as Bo Nix. I mean, as good as Bo Nix since Cam Newton. Nick Marshall was good in a very good system. I think Cam Newton was a transcending talent. Bo Nix isn't Cam Newton, but he's as a passer. If he's developing at this rate, he could be a better passer than Cam Newton. So really, it all starts and ends with Bo Nix. That's the first thing to consider. And on the note with that, a lot of people say they're not as good as a team as Alabama, which they are not. And that will probably be the team that will knock them off, Alabama. The Auburn Tigers, one of the interesting things is that there have been teams, if you look at national champions, that didn't necessarily have a good supporting cast, but they had a very good quarterback and a very good system. Auburn has both. Gus Malzahn as an offense has brought a good offense to Auburn. I mean, the rest of the conference knows what he runs, so it's not as transcendent as like when Chip Kelly came to Oregon and nobody knew what he was doing. But you look at some of the teams that have made it to the college football playoff or made it to the national championship or even won it. They had a very good quarterback, and the Fiesta players you don't hear. It's hard to remember some of them because they were like just system fits. One of the other things that I thought about is that, of course, there's tough schedule that gets laid out for them. One of the things I thought about is that schedule isn't as tough as people think it is. Like North Carolina is a trap game; they could lose that game, and also they have a quarterback that my name is blanking out on me for a second, but he is also one of the quarterbacks who's going to make a huge leap this year. So they could lose that game. But assuming we win, they're a better team than North Carolina. Then it's Georgia, which is an interesting situation. I don't know. It's hard to place Georgia. They could be anywhere from national championship to taking a big step back. And then after that, they don't play Florida this year, which is a huge break. They really get those two big games at the end of the year, LSU and Alabama.
So the one team that you're missing there is the Kentucky Cats. There, they have gone 8+ wins 3 years in a row now.
Calm down with that.
And last year, I believe they were 10-2, like as well.
Kentucky,
Auburn,
yeah, Kentucky.
Auburn
Wildcats.
is a clear pick against Kentucky. Come on, calm down with that.
So Kentucky last year took a step back
because they were on
when
their
they
four-string quarterback by the fifth game too. They still got 9 wins.
I mean, they had the year before that. I remember Kentucky made a lot of noise, and only had a few losses, and they won their bowl game against, I believe, Penn State. That was a good team, and that was they recruited differently, which I was really excited about. Where they brought in players that weren't necessarily 5 or 4 star players. I don't know where to put Kentucky after the past 2 years. I think they'll be good. I don't know if they're at that level. It's also one of the tricky things with Auburn, with Kentucky, with a lot of college football teams. Once you lose that first game and then that second game, it can unravel really fast. I don't know Kentucky's schedule off the top of my head. I can't imagine they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be great. The SEC East looks a lot better this year, actually.
Right. I mean, just pulling up the Kentucky schedule here, they do have a fairly tough schedule because they do play at Florida, and then they're at Auburn, and they're at a very tough Missouri. If you have never played in Missouri, I remember playing there my junior year, and it is just a very grungy place, very hard place to play. And they're also in Knoxville a lot as well. I do a Kentucky show. I had to go 8-5.
Let me interject for a minute. Offensive side of the ball, Auburn, I think is going to be a powerhouse in the SEC. It's the defense who worries me. They lost some key defensive players to the draft. how does
You're talking about
Auburn,
Auburn, right?
yeah, how does Auburn rebound from losing, like defensive line? They lost Marlon Davidson. Noah,
Yeah,
I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. But,
yeah.
they
Derek
they
Brown is
lost
the big
they
key.
they lost key defensive players, and we all know, the next man up, yes, great, next man up, but we know it takes that next man up, especially with the off season. And just like the NFL, right? We don't have an off season really. Neither does college football. College football really doesn't have an off season either for these next men up to get acclimated to being a starter. So how do you I have Auburn going 10-2 or 9-3. I think it's a toss-up game between LSU and Auburn, but I do think they lose to. I do think they lose to Georgia, and I do think they lose to Alabama.
Yeah, that seems pretty much where I would put them as well. 9-3. The interesting thing is with their defense. I was also thinking the question mark. The big one is Derek Brown, where the SEC in the trenches, you win or lose games there, and if they play a team like Georgia or Alabama have a great O line that's just going to push that D line around all day, you're not going to win those games. So I was very interested. One of the things that I was skeptic about is their defense. Their D line, which lost Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown going number 7 overall in the draft. Those two, that is currently their weak position. Other than that, they return a key starter in every personnel unit. They return Smoke Monday as one of their safeties, I believe. They return one of the linebackers, who was very good last year. They return key players other than their D line. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to have to be able to reboot their D line. But other than that, their defense is still
But
there.
those games, especially when you get into dogfights with Georgia or you get into dogfights with LSU or Alabama, those games are won and lost in the trenches. And that defensive line for Auburn, it's suspect, right? Because we don't know yet. And with the offseason, that's something that you really have to take account for because they're not getting those practice snaps, and they could come out and they can come out against game 2 the second week against US or UNC against Mac Brown, and let's give Mac Brown some credit. He had a pretty good season last year with North Carolina. And North Carolina can come up and sneak up on them and, beat them by a field goal or a touchdown.
North Carolina,
Ole Miss too. You know what I mean? So I don't see. I read your article and I don't see Auburn as being a sleeper team. I do think they definitely lose 2 games, and it's either going to be to Georgia, LSU, or Auburn. Hell, they may even lose to North Carolina or Ole Miss. There's Texas A&M on the schedule too. So it's definitely going to be an interesting season if we even have a college football season, which doesn't start to look like we might not. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't think Auburn is even in the. I don't think Auburn is even in playoff talks.
All right, guys. So we do have Mike Fink on the phone, blogger from RTFSportsNetwork.com. He wrote a very interesting article, The Argument for Auburn to Win the National Title. Go ahead over to RTFSportsNetwork.com and check that out. Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So, they're definitely not one of the teams that's considered. Everyone's thinking of 3 or 4 teams that are the obvious choices. Right now you can make the argument they're the 3rd, 4th, even 5th best team in the SEC. Especially a lot of people's rankings. What I find interesting about Auburn is if they get over those early hurdles. I think what's interesting is the North Carolina the North Carolina game, how that might play out versus the Georgia game, how that might play out. I mean, first of all, I think that there will be a season probably just at empty stadiums. I don't know what that's going to look like, but if they just play in front of empty seats, whatever, time will tell. But regardless, one of the things is if they get over those first two games, they can sneak up on a lot of people. One of the things about their defense that I'm thinking about is that the way LSU's defense was structured last year was secondary forward, where they just were able to outpass anyone, and that secondary was their strongest component. So they were able to build up 50 points, and nothing else mattered on that defense, even though they had a great defense throughout. That team was great throughout. That defense was built from their secondary. Nothing else mattered because you could not outpass them. Even Alabama, which had almost as great a passing game. So if Auburn wants to, they can get into offensive shootouts every game. And it's all going to be dependent on how good Bo Nix is. But if their secondary is their best unit, that could be. It's going to be interesting to see. I think because Auburn's going to seem to unravel and go 8-5. They could also just ride the momentum of those early wins, which are challenges, but they're very winnable games for them.
So Mike, let me ask you this question here. Kind of from what I gathered from our conversation, you kind of had them going 9-2, losing to Georgia and to Alabama, correct?
I did not pick. I know for one of the games that I said they're going to lose, like if I'm going to make my prediction, is to Alabama. But they have not won in Alabama since Cam Newton did it in 2010.
So let's say they lose to Alabama.
I would love nothing more to see Auburn go into Tuscaloosa and whoop the shit out of Alabama. I hate Alabama with a passion. You're right, but it would tickle me pink to see Auburn go into Tuscaloosa and hand them a L.
So
and knock
what
them
I'm
out
trying to
playoff.
ask here is, does the SEC bias get Auburn into the national championship playoff because they lost to Alabama? Did it? And presumably they don't make the SEC championship. But we every year we have this SEC bias. Does SEC get in 3 teams?
By the way, one
No,
interesting
I
thing.
do think-
Wait.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry. Okay. So there are a lot of people bringing these conspiracy theories. I remember one time I was watching the Coward Show where someone was saying like anything on the east coast of the Mississippi River by default is better. The real biases that these coaches have that I find interesting, they give colleges more credit based on the players they're putting in the pros. And what I found interesting when I thought about that is Baylor TCU didn't get as much love as the colleges. Ohio State gets much more love,
Right.
and you look at some of the colleges that even Oregon gets credit because they have that credibility of putting players in the pros. That was something I found interesting. All these people that are voting, they love like, and I don't know if it's subconsciously or not, but they love colleges that put players in the pros. So Auburn is in the middle of that. They're not Alabama, LSU, or Ohio State that constantly are putting pro players in, but they are a football factory, and they will get a little bit more credit. I guess if it comes down to them and like a Pac-12 team not named Oregon, they might get the vote over them.
I'm going to say there's not going to be any Pac-12 teams in there because nobody stays up till 2 o'clock in the morning to watch those games.
What?
Nobody stays up till 2 o'clock to watch Pac-12 games because they play games at 9 or 10 o'clock or like in their time zone, It's 1:00 in the morning here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
That is exactly why Oregon did not make the tournament last season. Not because
they
of the
had
week.
2 losses.
Well, did you watch Oregon play? They were a much better team from week 2 when they lost to Auburn earlier in the season. You know, it was just like it is night and day. I mean, like you cannot. Basically, we just need the computers back. The computers never got it wrong. That was a joke, by the way.
Now, Oregon
No,
was supposed to get in last year, but then they lost right when they couldn't afford to against Utah.
Right, which is totally asinine. I mean, you should definitely just reward the best teams getting into the playoffs, no matter the win-loss record whatsoever. So, I think I saw that Alabama's playing Ohio State in a home and away contract in 2021 and 2022. So when those teams beat up on each other early in the season, are you going to discipline them for picking up hard games?
It's very interesting because Oklahoma played Ohio State in that road home series. They split home series, and one of the unwritten rules about college football playoffs is you can lose once, but you can't lose twice. Once you lose twice, it's like your season's over. Between the one-loss teams, they're going to decide like, and one of the interesting factors is that home. I mean, well, that NFL factor, if you wanted to call it that. I mean, I don't know. With Auburn, if there's going to be an SEC bias, people are going to be upset if 2 SEC teams get in. Of course, if they lose once, then they're going to have a very good case, and I think it's very likely they're going to lose twice. We're not going to have that as an issue. But also, I mean, it also I guess matters who they lose to. If they lose to Alabama, and Alabama's the top 3 in the nation, that's going to carry more weight.
Well, just to add to some points there, I think the SEC will always get 2 teams in, no matter what happens. It is, I mean, like I have accepted that as a Big 12 fan, that we have to go undefeated and we have to have basically damn near perfection to sneak into the playoffs as a 4th seed, like Oklahoma did a couple years ago. But it just really irks me when SEC gets 3 teams in there. I mean, like I'm always expecting them to get 2 teams in. That's kind of a given, like at this point. But the 3 teams, it's kind of like, well, why don't you just have an all SEC tournament? But like it is what it is at the end of the day. But guys, we do have Mike Fink on the phone here. He is a blogger for RTFSportsNetwork.com. Wrote a very good article explaining why the Auburn Tigers should win the national championship. And Mike, you did mention that you have some more stuff coming up here in the future. Go ahead and let us know about that.
All right, so I'm writing about there are 10 teams that I picked that I say like they have a legitimate shot to win the national championship. Those are going to be each of them going to try to go through like figure out how from their perspective how they can win the national championship, how like why the case for them to win it. I'm of course gonna write about contemporary pro stories. So Cam Newton joining New England, that was of course big news. Where do the Patriots now fall in the AFC with Cam Newton?
3rd best.
One of the, I guess, the future stuff that you guys should know about. Probably going to write an article about why soccer sucks. In terms of, I'll watch the game. I like betting on soccer because it's kind of fun to bet on soccer, but not really. It's okay. It's in the middle. It's not as fun as football, but it's fun to bet on soccer. Try it once. The games are on at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But soccer as like a league, like in terms of like the league, like the leagues that exist that people care about in Europe, they all suck. Like I'll probably have to go through why they suck.
Okay. Well, definitely look forward to your articles, Mike. So guys, you can check him out at rtsportsnetwork.com. /blogs. You can catch all of Mike's Fink's articles there. But Mike, as always, thank you for joining us, man. And when you predict Texas to go 0-12, we'll definitely have to have you on the show.
Shut your mouth.
Just so Mike can.
Shut your mouth. Hook 'em.
But
That's
yeah.
your sleeper
What?
team. Hook 'em. Texas is your sleeper team.
I picked Texas as the sleeper originally. Tom Herman was great offensive mind at Ohio State. I'm waiting for him to find a way to unlock quarterbacks and make them look like he made J.T. Barrett and Cardale Jones look unbeatable at Ohio State. I'm waiting for that in Texas, and I want Oklahoma to finally lose. But
I think
be
Ellinger
fun.
has. If we have a college football season, I think Ellinger has a breakout season. The kid has an arm. He can run through somebody's face. I really think Ellinger has a breakout season this year, and I really think with the ease of schedule that Texas has, they've got to get past Oklahoma. And there's one other team I can't think of off the top of my head, but they can break into the top 4.
They play LSU week 2.
Boom, there you go. If they can get past LSU and Oklahoma, I think Texas breaks into the top 4 and goes into the playoffs. UT, hook 'em horns. That's the sleeper team.
My first team was Texas. In the argument for them, and part of why they get such a good argument is because the Big 12 isn't the Big 12. If you could beat Oklahoma and you could win the Big 12, you have a very good chance to get in.
All right, so Mike, we definitely look forward to hearing your blogs in the future. You are always welcome here on the show, but we'll catch you next time, man. Have a great night. All right, guys. So that was Mike Fink there from RTFSportsNetwork.com. Over on the blog page, writing some good articles for us. I believe he has about 5 or 6 articles over there, all very, very good reads. He is going to do very, very well in this business if he keeps writing the way he is writing. But Mike, it is that time of night, man. It is time to wrap up the show.
Damn it!
It's been a roller coaster. I mean, we have Johnny Manziel saying he's officially retired. Odell Beckham Jr. thinks he's going to end up in Cleveland for the rest of his life, which is absolutely false.
You know what? In college football this season, I just want Alabama to go 0-11.
That's not good, dude. They play
I know it's not going to happen, but
they play the school. They play the school of the deaf,
0-11.
the school of the blind. Like, come on, like.
I mean,
since you brought that up, let's bring up Alabama's record games real quick.
Let's break them down real quick. Let's break them down, Buck.
They
The
do
show's
play.
not over.
They do play USC. That'd be a good game.
That should be a good
And
game.
then they play Georgia State. Okay.
That's a win. That's
then they
easy.
play Georgia, all at home, by the way.
You know, Georgia at home. Bama might have.
Georgia's not going to go to Alabama and win. Just get over
No,
yourself with
but-
that.
Come on, man. I mean, they can
Then they
hope.
play Kent State, win. Then they're at Ole Miss. That might be a trap game. Then they're at Arkansas, easy win. Then they're at home versus Mississippi
calm down.
State.
Arkansas always plays top schools good.
Yeah, but they never win. They play them tough, but they never win. Then they're at home for Mississippi State. That's probably a win. Then they travel to Knoxville. That could be a sleeper trap game kind of because Knoxville is hard to play in, but that's a win. Then they're at LSU with no fans. That's probably a win. And then they play UTM, which that is University of Tennessee Martin. What?
Who the hell is this? Is it like a D3 school? Is this like a community college?
This is the School of the Blind from Tennessee.
Oh my God!
And then they
Why is
play
Alabama
Texas A&M
playing
at
this?
home. Like they have like 10 home games, man.
Do they have? Why does Alabama get favored so much in college football? I need to know.
They have one,
I
two.
need to know.
They have 4
Is
road
everybody
games.
just like stroking Nick Saban. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
They only have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 with Auburn. Maybe. I don't see Auburn going in Alabama and winning. But they go into LSU. They go into Death Valley. That's going to be a hard game. If there's fans.
If there's not fans, that's the easy win, I think.
I think so too.
But-
I mean,
Guys, that's going to be it for tonight. Catch us tomorrow. RTSSportsNetwork.com. Noon edition. Same time, same place. Miss any part of the show, check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio as well. Guys, have a great night. Catch you tomorrow. We out.
cheers, bitches.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Just for Clicks, featuring your host,